Alright, so I'll start the recording again. This concept is known as DFR, right? So what is DFR? And you guys have probably seen. It's lecture number 2, but I'd never made a video on it just because it's it's one of the it's one of the concepts that is useless. It's one of the concepts that is kind of hiding something behind it. So it's a quote unquote fake concept, but since they taught it, I might as well teach it to you guys, right? So QT, it's called QT projections, but we call it DFR, right? So DFR or QT projections, right? This is how you measure the maximum expansion a price will go to. What do I mean? First of all, you guys need the standard deviation settings. I don't know if you guys have this, so what I'll do is I'll put my settings here, right? So you guys can take a screenshot, copy it. I'll put it like right here. Alright. Those are the levels you guys need, right? That's it. Right? And let me kind of explain how this works, right? Alright, I'm just gonna leave this here. What you do is you'll take Q1, right? So let's say we take the daily Q1. Right? The daily cycle Q1 starts at 6 p.m. and ends at 12 a.m., right? You will divide Q1 into 3 pieces. So for the daily, it'll be 2-hour pieces. So 6 to 8, 8 to 10, and then from 10 to 12. You notice how there's 3 pieces now? Right? There's 1, 2, 3. Right, you guys see this? Let me just say this. Right? 1, 2, 3. 3 pieces. You will disregard the first piece. First piece is disregarded every time. You ignore the first piece, and what you do is for the second and third piece, you will mark out from the bottom to the top, right, for price, for where price can manipulate to. So what do I mean by this? I'll show you guys examples. Right? Let's use today's example, right? I will mark out 6 to 8, 8 to 10, and from obviously 10 to 12 right here. Right, we have 3 boxes. 1, 2, 3 boxes, right? First box, I don't care. What I use is the second and third box, and I will mark out my DFR projections, right? So in this case, I'll mark out the high to low and the low to high, right? Now, today it didn't work, right? As you can see, you're waiting for the -1 to get hit. Once you copy the settings, and I want you guys to go back into lecture 2 and look at what it says, read it over, right? Lecture 2 is right here for advanced stuff. Read this over, right? You guys need to read this, right? In this case, it didn't work. You want to see price hit -1 and then reverse. So what you would have typically want is like price to come down, hit this -1 here, and then reverse upwards, right? So let's do it on this day right here, right? Again, divide it into 3 pieces, right? And you take the highest point to the lowest point from those last 2 pieces. In this case, notice how what happens is we hit the -1, right? Hit the -1, and price reverses off of it. Do we see this? Right, and chart's getting a little messy. And let me do it the opposite way too. What happens? We hit -1, price consolidates, and then reverses back up. This shows the max quote unquote manipulation price can do for that day based off of Asia. I will say the reason I don't use DFR, I'm still teaching it because I have to, is because it's not a fake concept, but it was made for something else. It's not, I can't personally talk about it, right? But it's for something else, right? Now I'm not telling you guys not to use it. Just because I'm not using it doesn't mean you can't use it, right? You see, like on this day, on Friday, right? Last Friday it worked like a charm, right? You marked it out. First of all, divide the 3 pieces. So from 6 to 12, that means 2-hour pieces. 6 to 8. This piece you don't care. And then you're going to take from 8 to 12, you'll mark out the highest point and the lowest point. In this case, we marked it out. What happened? Price hit that -1, right? And we reverse back up from it. You guys see it? And in this case, like obviously, if I mark out the opposite way too, we hit, right? We hit the -1 and price reversed, right? It seems like it's crazy and it's insane, but there's going to be weeks where it barely works, and there's going to be weeks where it does work. Right, like this week where it literally works, hits -1, reverses, hits -1, reverses. Right? Let's go on this day, right? You're gonna do the exact same thing. Top to bottom from 8 to 12. In this case, I wonder if it worked. Maybe I misplaced it. Oh my god, it worked to the T, right? You guys see it? -1 gets hit. Price reverses back up. Now, this doesn't mean you just go blindly, take your standard deviation projection, use it based off of, what is it called, Q1 of the daily, right? And just use it and look for reversals off of it. Don't do that, bro. You're not going to have a high win rate. When you're going to pair this with PSPs, pair it with SSMTs, pair it with weekly opens, pair it with other stuff, TPD and stuff, right? Don't just blindly use this. Like you'll see there's days like these where, yes, it did hit -1 and it did reverse for a bit here, right? But price just rallied back up. Price didn't care, right? Here, like let's try this one too. Right, like here. This is a good example where it doesn't work. Mark it out. Price literally hits it but continues upwards. No reaction from price, right? Here as well, I believe. Yeah, like price hits it, continues. Right? So it's a really it's a hit or miss concept. I don't like this concept personally. So only Q1 on the daily. Yeah, you can use it on Q1 on every single time frame. It doesn't matter. Why my indicator like at the bottom? What? I reload my charts or something. Alright, perfect. It can be Q1 on the weekly too. Right, so if I mark out the weekly Q1, I mean, let's do weekly Q1, you're dividing it again, right? Make sure you're not using the first part, divide into 3 pieces, and from there you're going to take the standard deviation, the highest point to the lowest point. In this case, what happened on the weekly, -1 gets hit, price reverse back up, right? Let's go here. Standard deviation, again, the lowest point to the highest point. In this case, bro, like nowhere close, so I'm not gonna lie. Right, it's really like a hit or miss concept. In this case, like it worked, right? -1 hit, reverse. I personally don't use it. Doesn't mean you guys shouldn't use it, right? As long as you stack it with other stuff, you should use it. And that's DFR for you guys. That's lecture number 2 completed. Right? I didn't want to teach it just because like they made it for a different reason. It's to cover up something else.